Imagine buying, 35 acres of pristine Montana wilderness. Right on a river.
Sounds amazing.
Right, you're building your dream home, and you just have to construct it directly on top of this ugly, overgrown, abandoned asphalt road.
Yeah, it sounds completely backwards, doesn't it?
It really does. But welcome to today's deep dive. We are exploring the Stillwater Residence in Whitefish, Montana, which was completed in 2018.
Right, and our mission today is uncovering how architecture can actually heal a landscape instead of, well, just disrupting it.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this, because we have to start with why anyone would choose an old roadbed over, a perfect, beautiful meadow.
Well, the history of this specific site is defined by a massive physical scar. A severe landslide eroded the riverbank years ago, which actually forced local authorities to relocate the adjacent county road.
Oh, so that abandoned asphalt strip was just like the leftover scar tissue.
Exactly, it was just sitting there.
Yeah, which makes this feel like architectural reconstructive surgery. Instead of cutting into the healthy tissue of those untouched meadows, the architects decided to fix the scar.
Yes, and what's fascinating here is why that surgical approach matters so much to the broader ecosystem. By anchoring the house onto that already disturbed footprint, they entirely avoided destroying the virgin river habitat.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Right. Plus, when they excavated dirt to stabilize the foundation, they didn't just truck it off-site.
Well, yeah, sending a fleet of heavy dump trucks through a delicate ecosystem would definitely defeat the whole purpose.
It really would. So they kept all that excavated dirt and sculpted it into engineered meadow berms right on the property.
Artificial hills?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And these artificial hills do double duty. They block the harsh mountain winds, and they physically muffle the traffic noise from that relocated county road.
That is so smart. It makes you realize how solving a landscape problem naturally dictates, the design of the house itself.
Yep.
Like, the structure mimics historic regional timber barns just to handle that wind and snow. But I was reading about the materials they used, and this just blew my mind.
Exciting, right?
Yeah. They built a luxury home out of dead wood. The sources call it beetle-kill pine. But isn't using dead timber just asking for rot and, structural failure?
I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive. But it is a brilliant ecological pivot. Regional forests suffer from these massive beetle infestations that leave behind huge swaths of standing dead timber.
Which I imagine is a massive fire hazard.
A huge fire hazard. So by harvesting that specific wood, they are removing a forestry challenge and turning it into a carbon-sequestering, locally sourced siding.
And it actually ages beautifully, from what I understand. So you are literally cleaning up the forest to build the house.
Exactly, and protecting the house from future fires, too. They paired that wood with a bonderized steel roof.
Bonderized, what is that?
It's a chemical treatment that gives the steel a really dull matte finish. It prevents blinding sun glare from shooting across the valley.
Oh, so you don't blind your neighbors.
Right, while also easily handling northern Montana's heavy snow loads and offering crucial fire resistance.
That makes total sense. Speaking of that brutal Montana weather, keeping the freezing cold outside is one thing, but heating the inside is another.
Oh, definitely.
And here's where it gets really interesting. The sources say the house is heated using an open-loop ground source heat pump that pulls from a shallow alluvial river aquifer.
Yes. It's quite the system.
Okay, first, what exactly does that mean? And second, if it's sub-zero outside, isn't that water freezing cold? Like, how on earth does cold water heat a house?
Let's break that down. A shallow alluvial aquifer just means the loose gravel and soil right beneath and next to the riverbed.
Right.
That stuff holds groundwater.
Okay, I'm with you.
Because it's underground, that water stays at a really stable 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit year-round, even when the air up above is, way below zero.
But 45 degrees is still cold. I mean, you wouldn't want your living room at 45 degrees.
No, of course not. This is the magic of a heat pump. Think of it like a refrigerator working in reverse.
Okay.
A fridge takes heat out of its interior and pushes it into your kitchen, right? Well, the heat pump takes that 45-degree water, extracts the ambient heat energy from it, and uses a compressor to concentrate that heat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then that concentrated heat is pumped into the home's radiant floor system.
That is incredibly efficient.
It is. And it's linked to an on-site weather station that automatically adjusts different climate zones in the house based on real-time shifts in the weather.
That is amazing technology. But systems like that, don't they usually require loud, vibrating, industrial-sized machinery?
Usually, yeah.
Because if the whole point is protecting a serene river ecosystem, where do you hide the noisy mechanical guts of this thing?
Well, you certainly can't leave them out by the riverbank. They cleverly buried all the heavy machinery in a subterranean courtyard basement.
A basement courtyard.
Yep. The earth itself completely dampens the noise. That keeps the surface quiet and protects those really sensitive riverbed soils from unnecessary vibration.
That is brilliant. So what does this all mean for you? Whether you are looking at new neighborhood developments or just updating your own home, it really changes how we think about our footprint.
It really does. The Stillwater Residence, which actually took home major awards from Lux and the AIA, proves that a house doesn't have to be a parasite on an extreme ecosystem.
Definitely not.
By marrying smart tech like compressed heat pumps with thoughtful, salvaged materials, our homes can actively participate in environmental restoration.
It really flips the script on what high-end buildings should look like. Which leaves us with a final thought for you to ponder on your own.
I love this part.
What if future zoning laws required all new residential construction to be built exclusively on previously damaged or abandoned sites? Think about how that would reshape our world.